Hey everybody, I'm Sierra,
And I'm Ben.
and welcome back to another episode of The Unsolved Couple, where every week Ben and I recap one of your original gateway drugs into true crime.
Unsolved Mysteries.
Okay, are you ready to take control of the podcast, Ben?
No.
You're in the
not.
drive. You're
I'm not.
you're the captain now.
I am the captain now. I actually just watched that movie for the first time only.
I've
a few
actually
months ago.
never watched
It's
that
pretty good.
movie.
It's a good movie.
It's about pirates, yeah, but different than the pirates with Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
Somali pirates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, I just know it from the meme.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a great meme.
it is a great meme, and it's relative to use in a lot of different scenarios.
Yeah.
Yeah, for everyone tuning in, I'm still sick.
Do you want to tell people what you did?
What do you do? That could get me into a lot of trouble. I'm gonna need some more details before I just start making confessions over the podcast. What did I do?
You don't know?
No, give me a hint.
You don't want to tell people what you did to my Colts.
Oh, yeah, about that. I didn't do anything because I don't believe in sports superstitions. But
9 weeks ago.
9 weeks ago, Ben was
You were-
very excited because the Colts were doing really well. They were.
And I was looking at their score at the start of our podcast.
What were they? What was their statistic at
And
that?
you said, "What are you doing?" And I said,
I said, Ben, what are you doing? And you said,
"I'm looking at the score of the game to see if my Colts won."
because
Did and
what
they won.
was there at what were they at that one
And they
point?
won that day,
Okay.
and they became 7-1.
Mm-hmm.
So they'd won 7 games and lost
Yeah.
only 1 game.
And I said,
And
well,
I said, "I'm really excited because
we're
we're doing way
this
better."
is our year.
No, I didn't say this.
No,
was
you
our
didn't
year.
say that.
I said, "We're doing really good."
Mm-hmm.
And we're doing better than last year. And I said, last year we won 9 games and lost 8. And it appears that we're going to do better than last year.
Mm-hmm.
And you then said, well, don't count your chickens for the hatch. Wouldn't it be funny if they lost from here on out? And my Colts have then proceeded to have a historical collapse.
Yeah.
We have won 1 game.
I don't know if you know this,
lost
but me and professional sports people were real close. We're BFFs. So I called in some favors. I have a lot to say.
We ended
The best part is
season-
all of the things that I have spoken with intent to try to bring into existence into this from our podcast for us to find great success, for us to be able to sell like all these things, merchandise, to be top charting, to be trend, whatever it is.
you put it all into my
put
Colts.
everything out there. And then the one stupid comment I make about sports that I don't even care about is the one thing that gets spoken into existence.
Yes,
Yeah, God
then-
works in really funny ways, doesn't he? Because we're both annoyed about it.
So the Colts have now won 8 games
Uh-huh.
and lost 9. We ended worse.
We
than
flip
last year.
flopped.
They went 1-8 from that point.
Snip, snap, snip, snap.
Since you said that.
Yeah.
1-8.
Yeah.
Hands down, like the greatest collapse in sports history. One of the greatest collapse.
All thanks to Sierra from the
Because of
Unsolved
your
Couple.
comment.
Yeah, I hope when they do a 30 on 30 about this
Yeah,
collapse,
they're
I
gonna interview-
hope they interview me.
They're going to interview you.
100%.
And you're going to have to
And I'm going to be
explain
annoyed
yourself.
that the one time I got interviewed for a documentary wasn't for a true crime
You're gonna have to
documentary.
explain yourself.
It was for a sports podcast, or it was for a sports documentary.
Yeah. You're going to have to
But I don't know a
explain.
dang thing about football.
Can you imagine when the people of Indiana find out what you did?
I'm sorry, Indiana.
You should be sorry.
You should be sorry. All right, we got to get after this because I'm worried that I'm going to lose my voice. For those who tuned in last week, I'm sick. So Ben is the captain. He's in charge. He's going to be sharing 2 of the 3 stories today from season 4, episode 5 of
Unsolved Mysteries.
and yeah. Okay, I think that's all. That's all. Oh, Ben, you're supposed to be in charge. You got to give us our. You got to give the people the information about the following and the liking and the subscribing and the reviews. So take it away.
I no.
Come on.
Follow us, like us, subscribe, join us on TikTok,
And
MySpace,
if I could have a MySpace page for this, I would. Instagram.
Instagram.
Our tag on those.
Unsolved Couple Pod.
Mm-hmm. And what about this?
What about what?
5-star.
Oh, give us a 5-star review and rating
Mm-hmm.
review. If you don't want to give us 5 stars, then hit the road, Jack. Get out.
All right.
Doors on your left. Get out.
Okay.
All right. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm here for this one. I just hope that I have a voice.
I hope you do too. Okay, we're going to get told the story of Teresa Stamper. She's 23. She was married to Paul. Paul and Teresa, they meet in Oklahoma. Paul came to Oklahoma in Kingfisher County during the what, Sierra? The big oil boom.
Yeah.
Big time.
There was a lot of money to be made.
A lot of money to be made, right? So he started an oil equipment business, all right? Met Teresa when she was 20, hires her as a secretary for his business. And he's doing really well for himself, all right? They start dating. He's super, he's charming. He buys her gifts. What in the reenactment, he says, hey, he calls her up one morning. He's like, hey, have you gone outside? She's like, no, I haven't gone outside. So
I would just like to point out what kind of house she vacates out of.
A double wide.
Not even a double wide. It was a single wide trailer in a trailer park. And here's the thing. I love a trailer park. I'm from a small town in Myrtle Creek. It has nothing to do with it. But the disconnect about what she's about to find in her driveway is very different.
So his business is doing well.
According to him.
Not well enough to upgrade from the single wide,
Yeah.
but well enough that she comes out to an 82 Corvette.
Cherry red.
And I will say
it's a sweet car. And he's driving like an old school Bronco in the reenactment.
He is.
Yeah.
Yeah. We know how you feel about
I love a Bronco.
Yeah,
I want one.
Old school
so
Broncos.
if you asked me, do you want a Mercedes in the driveway or a Bronco? If you called me and said, have you gone outside yet today? Which the chances are I probably have not, because I make it a habit to not leave the house if I don't have to. And I walked out there and there is a Bronco in the driveway. I'm thrilled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you were upset. You did go outside Christmas morning. There was no
Mercedes
with a red bow on it.
Nope.
I know that. But anyway, so he's love bombing her, as you like to say.
Ben loves all of my. I'm making comments in the background. This is what we call love bombing.
And I'm like, thanks. I would have never put that together.
Let me woman-splain this to you.
Yeah, thank you for woman-splaining it to me.
You're welcome.
So he buys her nice gifts and he's very charming, whatever. So guess what happens? They get married, right? Does that go well? It does not. Because it turns out Paul wasn't a good guy. He was a convicted felon for theft, assault, fraud. He was just a bad person.
He's not a good guy.
No. And unfortunately, she doesn't know that. Didn't know that before they get married. And it turns out.
Everyone do background checks on the men in your life.
Did you do a background check on me?
No.
Exactly.
But there was at least social media back then. I did know some things about you.
I didn't have a social media.
I knew your family, though.
Well, all right. So even we get told, like, Paul not a good person. He's got this criminal history. And then even his business is shady. He was under investigation because it looked like he's selling oil equipment. And then
Oil rig equipment.
then it appears at night he's going and breaking it just so that they have to then call
That's
him.
hilarious, but also fraud up the wazoo.
Oh, trust me.
Yeah.
So at our work,
Okay.
we have all of us believe the same thing. We have a wash rack because we drive on dirt roads a lot, and during monsoon season we get really muddy.
It gets bad.
Yeah, and we have a fleet. So there's a wash rack with two power washers. It is constantly broken, and the drain in that thing constantly backs up. There are times where you can't get out of your truck to wash it because the water is so deep in there. You got to get out and jump to the side. We are all in agreement that whoever built it or whoever
Maintains it.
maintains it, does it intentionally so that they have to come back because it is broken at least once every 6 weeks. At least. It's broken more than it's actually working.
Yeah. It's like the McDonald's ice cream.
You always just drive by to see if cones are in front of it. Like, oh, hey, the wash rack's open. Like, oh, yeah. And anyways, so it appears that that's the scam Paul's running. Within 6 months of the marriage, Paul becomes extremely controlling, abusive. He accuses Teresa of infidelity. Like the show in the reenactment, she comes home from going to the grocery store and he accuses her of cheating on her.
I'll say it again. There's nothing more dangerous than an insecure man.
Yeah. He starts isolating her, won't let her go to see friends, family, all that, controlling everything. He won't let her run errands by herself. So, I mean, obviously, very controlling, abusive man.
Yeah.
She even tells of an incident where they're sitting at a red light and she looks over at the car and next to him because it was just a guy.
There was a guy sitting in the car. Yeah.
He sucker punches her, just punches her. So
this
Paul,
poor woman.
They even show a picture
of her. You guys.
Has 2 black eyes, massive.
She looks. I mean, not to mince words, she looks like she's had the absolute crap beat out of her.
2 massive black eyes.
Yeah, I know a few women that have been involved in relationships that were physically abusive, and a lot of the abuse is hidden. This man did not hide what he was doing. Yeah,
she looks like she got in a serious car accident.
Yeah, it doesn't even look like she got into some sort of altercation. It looks like, her full physical body was involved in trauma because she's got these raccoon eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's disgusting. So Paul's arrested at least 5 times. But somehow, some way, he's arrested for assault and battery. But somehow, some way, charges were dropped.
And at first I assumed a lot of people that are in domestic violence disputes end up dropping the charges against their partner. Yeah. It appears from Unsolved Mysteries that she was not the one dropping the charges. Because
she doesn't say that. We don't know of all the instances.
She makes a comment to somebody that he's getting out of this.
He keeps getting out of it.
Yeah.
So it clearly appears that she's not the one dropping the charges every time. He is showing back up home to Teresa saying and gloating that he's paying off the authorities.
Yeah.
We even get the sheriff on here, Danny Graham, and he's like, yeah, I heard of rumors of payoffs and that was definitely something that had been going around in the office. But I never knew of anything. I'm not sure what was going on or what. I don't know how much I believe that, but whatever. So January 5th, 1985, Teresa's out of town, okay? And a friend is staying at their house. I don't know why, but maybe she was just, house sitting.
Maybe she had an animal. I don't know. We don't get the background as to why she was there, but she was staying at her house.
We get the bare minimums of this story, but she's sleeping on the couch. This man walks in and tries to slit her throat and stab her.
This is crazy, you guys.
And he does this.
Yeah,
He
here's the
does
thing.
do it.
It doesn't that he just tries to.
Sorry, I didn't mean it that way. What I'm saying, I guess, is he tries to kill her by slitting her throat and stabbing
and he doesn't kill her, but he is successful in
those things,
in injuring her. Yeah.
which is terrifying.
Yeah.
So that man is identified as the man Gary Trout, and he's a mechanic who works for Paul. So he fingers Paul and says, yeah, he paid me. He offered to pay me $10,000 to kill Teresa. So Paul's charged as an accessory to murder, attempted murder, because thankfully
She lives.
this lady lives. This friend. We don't ever learn her name, and it's terrible.
Yeah.
Name. But when the trial came, Trout refused to then testify against Paul and say, yeah, Paul hired me. So unfortunately, the charges were then dropped.
I think that is absolute. Yeah. I think there was enough information there.
That's all they say in Unsolved
I
Mysteries,
understand
and
what they said, but it is very clear that this man somehow either has
There
the
was
most
probably
amazing
enough-
luck or he has connections inside the sheriff's department
or the DA's office.
or the DA's office. Yeah.
So, yeah, you would imagine there was enough circumstantial evidence.
Yeah, especially
to
if you add in all of the domestic disputes
Exactly.
happening before then.
Okay. So now we come to the big event, unfortunately, because of all these things and all this happening, what's going to continue to happen? Things are going to continue to
He
escalate.
keeps getting away with it.
November 23rd. So finally, Teresa does leave Paul. She leaves him and
Mhm.
files for divorce. Well, Paul cannot take that.
No.
He doesn't like that. So November 23rd, 1985. Teresa is now dating a man by the name of Chris Butler. They left a dinner party around 11:30 p.m. and they head off. They're driving down this secluded highway road, and all of a sudden they see a flashing light in their rearview mirror. They think it's the highway patrolman, so they pull over. A man gets out. Turns out it's Paul. He approaches the car with a gun and demands Teresa get out. Like,
Dude,
get out.
This guy is unhinged.
He's unhinged. Okay. And Chris is like in the reenactment, and I'm going to guess that's how it went down. He's like, no, you can't tell her what to do. Absolutely not. Get out of here.
Yeah, F all the way right off.
And so he starts yelling. Chris tries to grab the gun, and, he's at a point of disadvantage. He's in the car. This guy's standing. Paul
This was terrifying to even watch the reenactment because this would be a horrible situation.
Paul shoots Chris. Okay. Goes around, drags Teresa out of the car, and drives off with her. So he's kidnapped her.
Yeah.
So thankfully, a passing motorist sees Chris in the car, calls. This guy he was shot.
The fact that he lived, tell us where was he shot at, Ben?
Heart, spleen, and lungs.
Yeah,
like the bullet hit heart, spleen, and lungs, but yet he survived.
Yes.
Holy smokes, that's criminal.
I mean, that guy must had some guardian angels around him.
So Paul takes off with Teresa. 2 days later, they are in a restaurant in Topeka, Kansas. And Teresa's like, hey, I need to use the bathroom. And he's like, okay, go ahead. And she's walking to the bathroom, noticing he's not following her. And he's got his back to her. So she runs into the manager's office and pleads for him to call the police.
I was so scared of where that story was going at this point because this man is unhinged. And now...
Would it be surprised if he barges in and kills the manager?
Well, that's the thing. I was like, are we going to find out that he takes the whole restaurant hostage? Like again, nothing is more scary than a freaking insecure man.
So when the police show up, Paul's gone. He just up and left. He realized Teresa ditched him, and instead of looking for her, he just gets in his car and takes off. So 5 hours later, though, police do catch up with Paul, and they arrest him trying to board a bus in Salina, Kansas. He's extradited back to Oklahoma, Kingfisher County, and he's put in jail, waiting trial for kidnapping and attempted murder.
Mm-hmm.
So April 28th, 1986, 3:30, I found out it's 3:30 a.m. A guy breaks into the jail. First off, who breaks into the jail?
This was crazy to me.
Breaks into the jail at gunpoint, at least in the reenactment,
Mm-hmm.
and breaks Paul out of jail. I'm only laughing because
Again,
this is just
it
so
goes to show this
wild.
guy has weird connections, right?
Supposedly, he offered this guy $10,000 to break him out of jail.
Yeah.
So this guy does it. This is the first time I've ever heard of someone breaking in jail to get
Breaking
somebody
into jail to get them
to get that
out
to
of
get
jail.
somebody else out
Yeah.
of jail, right? But he does it. They somehow are successful and they get out. Now Paul's on the run. So that is our story. Paul's wanted for attempted murder, kidnapping, and now breaking out of jail. So that's what he looks like. This is where, can you help us find him? He's wanted for these things. He's a bad guy. He's a bad dude. And he's been on the run now for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
So where is this guy? Let's get him. All right. That's where Unsolved Mysteries leaves us. Are you ready for your update?
I'm ready for our update.
Solved.
Thank
They said
goodness.
within minutes of of the broadcast, they phone in. They say, "Listen, we actually know who this guy is. He's living by the name of Gary Wickel in a suburb of Commerce City, Colorado, which is just outside of Denver, I think."
Okay.
Who's driving trucks? They actually get the FBI guy in charge of he's the sack of the Denver office. And he's like, dude, this was like the fastest.
I know he was like, this was the best. And I was like, this man supports Unsolved Mystery.
He said by 11:30 that night, he said within 3 hours of the broadcast, they had this guy in custody. Because someone called in and said, yeah, I know who this guy is. He drives trucks. He lives here. Like they said, he had so much information that this guy, this has to be him. I'm going to guess you get a lot of tips and you got to weed him. But they said he had so much detail about him and all this. So like, yeah, it's got to be him. They show up at his place, boom, arrest him.
Done and done.
Yeah, he was the FBI guy was laughing. He goes, within 3 hours of this broadcast, he was in custody and we were walking him into the FBI field office. So he's taken back to Oklahoma. He actually pleads guilty himself to the charges. All right. He's sentenced to 35 years in prison. But guess what? Don't worry. He does 10 and in January 2002 is released on parole.
Yeah, I've got a lot of questions about that.
I did too.
What's going on with that?
I looked it up. I can't find a lot of information.
Okay.
So
this man was a menace.
Yeah.
He was a garbage human being.
Well, he literally attempted to murder someone.
Well,
and he kidnapped someone.
And he kidnapped somebody, took him across state line. And then on top of that, he also was suspected at one point, hired a hitman to murder somebody.
Yeah.
And had several recorded incidences of at least reports of domestic violence. What judge looked at him and said, oh, you know what? Let's only give you like the bare minimum. And then what parole board was like, hey, you know what? You seem like a good choice.
I don't know. I was very confused.
I mean, shame on everybody.
Very confused to find out that.
Did you find out anything as to, does he
not find this guy? Can't find any.
There's no way he went on to live some clean, healthy, like,
but it's, I mean, say what you want, but if people want to just stay off the grid, they can. I mean, I don't know. I looked for arrest records or anything because I was afraid. Did you go out and then do
something? Yeah.
At the end of the day, At least he didn't make any big headlines that I could
Okay.
find. So,
All right. And you were telling me it seems as if,
yeah. So they actually they made a movie of this in like '95.
okay, like
Just
it's
like
made
a
for
made
TV
for
movie.
TV movie. You know, the story of Teresa, her capture and escape or whatever, something like that. You
Yeah.
can look it up. It's out there. Um, that it appeared. So from what I could read, it sounds like they had a kid together, but
Mm.
they didn't say that. I could be wrong on that. She did end up having kids later on. Teresa had a hard life after this.
I'm sure she did.
It appeared that it looked like she even grew up abused. She got into drugs. And
Mhm.
I read an article from 2023 of someone that had done an article on her. Unfortunately, she had gotten into drugs, became homeless for a little while, but it appears that she's getting her life put back together in the last few years. And I only hope the best for her.
Yeah, I
I
hope so
hope.
too.
It's sad. And I can't imagine that it's hard as someone that has gone through that to watch someone only do 10 years in jail and then get
I
out.
cannot imagine.
So I
He
feel really,
terrorized her for almost like as long as that. And
yeah,
then for him,
he's a
yeah, he's a
monster.
monster.
And yeah. So I only hope the best
Well,
for
I hope
her.
he stubs his pinky toe every day.
Yeah, I
That
hope.
he always cuts his fingernails just a little too short.
So, I mean, I'm glad they caught him,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah, I
I
just
just,
hope that he went on to live a miserable life because he's a garbage human being.
yeah. So,
Okay.
that's the end of that story.
All right. Are you ready to hear about another lost love story? Yay.
It's not really lost love.
That's what it technically is. I've literally, I tell you straight up, bless you,
Very sorry.
that there's more lost love segments than anything else in this entire series.
I think there's got to come a point where we got to skip these, right?
I don't know. Okay. The Baron 52 is what we're talking about.
It's more like a history.
I would
thing.
say, yeah, I've never heard about this before,
Don't shut us off because we just said lost love, because I know it's possible.
but Ben's into this because it's a story about history. So don't also turn us off because you think history is boring, because I get it.
History is not boring. If you think history is
I
boring, there's something
usually
wrong.
zone out when people start talking about history, but here we go. January 27th. And again, I apologize. I've already recorded one episode. I'm losing my voice. So
Go with it.
I just feel bad.
Who cares?
I probably sound disgusting in your ear holes. If you want to fast forward. January 27th, 1973, the Paris Peace Accords have been formally ratified, which meant that there would be no more American involvement in the Vietnam War. However, as many soldiers were planning to return home to their families, others were still involved in missions. Sergeant Peter Cressman, an electronics expert who flew top secret, uh, I typed in the word Renaissance missions, but that cannot recon missions, wrote an angry letter to his congressman. Um, excuse me. He wrote an angry letter to his congressman that stated that he and his others in his unit were in violation of the Paris Peace Accords, being forced to continue missions despite the official end of American involvement in the war. He also stated that he wanted to refuse orders but feared consequences. February 5th, 1973, so only just like a week or so later, Peter, along with Dale, Joseph, Todd, George, Servano, Robert, and Arthur boarded an EC 47Q surveillance plane called Baron 52 to fly on a secret mission. The electronic experts, who were listed as Peter, Joseph, Dale, and Todd, were situated in the back of the plane. The flight plan called for the plane to fly from Uborn Air Force in Thailand to
Laos.
Laos. Thank you. The assignment was to monitor North Vietnamese tanks that were moving into Cambodia along the Ho Chi Minh Trail.
The Ho Chi Minh Trail.
Yeah. At 11:05 p.m., the plane departed. 2.5 hours later, reports came in that the plane was receiving heavy ground fire. 5 minutes later, radio contact ceased. 2 days later, the wreckage of Baron 52 was located in the jungle deep inside how did you pronounce it? Laos? Laos. At the time, the rescue team was only able to recover the remains of one of the pilots, Robert. The team did note 3 other bodies in the wreckage. 2 were sitting in the pilot and co-pilot seat. However, they could not recover them at the time, and the other men were considered MIA, missing in action. Joseph's mother, Mary, recalled the day that her and her husband were informed of the crash. 2 military men informed them that he was missing in action and that his plane had been shot down, and that he and others may have bailed out before the crash. 18 days later, however, the family was informed that there was no chance of any of them surviving because the plane went into a tailspin after being hit. Peter's mother, Evelyn, remembered the day that she was informed of their status as being changed from missing in action to killed in action. She accepted the ruling at first, believing that they had positive proof. A week later, they received Peter's belongings. The letter he had written to the congressman made them suspicious of the official ruling. Peter's parents had learned that 4 parachutes were missing from the crash site, suggesting the possibility that 4 men had escaped. They spent 5 years writing to military officials, seeking specific details about the case. The Air Force constantly responded to them that based on the condition of the wreckage and the lack of a distress call, there was not enough time for the men to bail out. The official report concluded that all members of the Baron 52 were killed in the crash. In June of 1978, Cressman received a phone call from an attorney with the National MIA organization. The gentleman claimed that he had seen evidence of at least 4 people on Baron 52 that had possibly survived and had been captured by North Vietnamese forces. And he had learned a report of investigative journalist Jack Anderson, which stated that U.S. intelligence had intercepted some communication by Vietnam forces shortly after the downing of Baron 52. Terrell worked for the NSA in 1973, deciphering North Vietnamese messages. He found communication between North Vietnamese requesting transportation for the captured American pilots. Due to the ceasefire, he believed that the only men that could have been captured were members of the Baron 52. He believed that the men were captured after parachuting from the plane. After learning this information, the families went to the Pentagon and looked at the files of some of the men's files. In the files, there were also copies of the radio interceptions, although they were mostly redacted. Yep. They believed that they were that they did find enough information showing that the government was well aware that 4 men had likely jumped and had been captured. The Defense Intelligence Agency confirmed that North Vietnamese communication existed, however, that they stated that the nationality of the captured pilots was never specified on the communications that they had intercepted. And they did not believe that the captured men were the Baron 52 gentlemen. In 1986, however, retired intelligence analyst Jerry testified before Congress stating that Peter Cressman and Joseph Majoy, Dale and Todd were prisoners of war. However, he claimed that they were being held in the Soviet Union, not in Southeast Asia. He believed that it was possible as prisoners with, quote, special knowledge, because these were intelligent officers, had been taken from Vietnam to Moscow. However, there was no concrete evidence that the POWs were taken from Vietnam to the Soviet Union. The families believe that the men's captured by the Vietnamese was covered up due to it occurring post the Paris Peace Accord. Mary, one of the mothers, spoke with Dr. Rogers, the Assistant Secretary of Defense at the Paris peace talks. He claims that he was told to cross off Peter, Joseph, Dale, and Todd's names from a government list of American POWs captured in Vietnam. However, he claimed that he was not ordered to cross off the men's name. It doesn't state that he believed that the men were captured. Oh, he does state, though, that he does believe that the men were captured and may still be alive. Kind of odd.
Yeah.
The evidence.
A lot of this is
yeah. The evidence gives the family of the missing crew members hope that they are alive and still might be found one day. And that's kind of where Unsolved Mystery leads. There's a lot to unpack there.
All right.
Okay.
Let's get our update.
Okay.
We'll dive in.
All right.
This.
So update. For decades, the families have fought for not necessarily closure, but they just want to know the truth of what happened that day. Rather than a funeral, they have requested hearings to be forth before Congress. After years of petitions, letters, and unanswered questions, in 2016, they were granted some hearings. When John appealed directly to then Secretary of Defense Chuck Hagel during the Obama administration, the family arrived with some serious firepower. There's actually several articles recently talking about what's going on. 4 attorneys working pro bono, and a gentleman named Ralph Whitterham, a highly respected aircraft crash investigator and former Vietnam pilot himself, has spent more than a decade examining the Baron 52 crash. He had originally been hired by the family, but after reviewing the evidence, he concluded that the case was so deeply flawed on the side of the U.S. government that he continued to work for the family for free. After the 2-hour hearing was attended by all of Joe's siblings, but the process itself actually raised immediately red flags. The family was told the hearing could not be recorded, and the former Vietnam fighter pilot was not allowed to show any video evidence demonstrating how he believed the aircraft actually landed because the Pentagon reportedly did not have the proper software to play it.
I'm sorry, what?
Yes, the Pentagon claims. So the man, Ralph, the highly respected aircraft crash investigator, made a video showing how he believed that the aircraft landed and crashed and went down.
And they didn't want to see.
They said that due to the Pentagon having all of the technology, right?
Yeah.
Did not have the proper, quote, software to play the video.
That's stupid.
Yes. Furthermore, the man hired by the family conclusion directly contradicted the Air Force official narrative. The Air Force maintained that the Baron 52 plunged vertically and crashed nose first into the ground, killing everyone upon impact. However, the expert hired by the family said the physical evidence makes that impossible. And after closely analyzing aerial photos taken during the 1993 excavation of the aircraft, he concluded that the plane came in horizontally, landing on top of the dense triple canopy jungle. Instead of a vertical impact, the aircraft skipped across the treetops, much like a stone skips across the water, flipping over, shredding most of its wings, and finally coming to rest roughly 400 yards from its initial point of contact. There was no crater, and the nose was not crushed on the airplane. According to the expert, this kind of cushion landing would have either allowed the rear crew members, known as the, quote, back-enders, to have survived the crash and likely escape on foot. He was very blunt in his report, declaring that all crew members killed in action, he said, was a conclusion of, quote, convenience and a way to just wrap this up. A way to wrap this up. He said, this is all like in official records. He, quote, said, the government needed them all to be dead. Just weeks before and this was in 2016. The family uncovered even something more troubling. The attorney, Tony, discovered new documents during the extensive search at Sam Johnson's Vietnam archives in Texas Tech University. The records suggest the Defense Intelligence Agency had informed information indicating that some U.S. Air Force personnel lost in February of 1973 had been captured alive and then later were killed in captivity as prisoners of war. These documents were authorized by Sedgwick, a former Defense Department intelligence officer who had previously exposed a major scandal involving South Vietnamese soldiers sent on covert missions for the U.S. and then abandoned in North Vietnamese prison camps. All right. They also found that in February of 1974, the DIA was operating a separate MIA accounting system from the Pentagon. And in that system, the Baron 52 backenders were listed as KK, meaning died in captivity. Meanwhile, the Pentagon classified them as BB, killed in action, body not recovered. So he wrote that there was no explanation for such a discrepancy, especially since the possibility of capture directly contraindicates the Air Force official version of events. Yeah, because you can't die in captivity if you were killed in action.
Yeah.
Yeah. Former top POW/MIA official at the Pentagon later confirmed that he was aware of these parallel accounting systems, and he admitted that the DIA analysts were encouraged to maintain their own internal assessments, even if those conflicted with other military information. Despite this newly uncovered evidence, nothing has changed. 8 months after the hearing, John received a phone call from three-star Air Force general informing him that the Secretary of Air Force had declined the request to change Joe's status from killed in action to missing in action. After decades of efforts, the family was right back where they started. John said that the experience mirrored exactly what happened to his parents in the 1970s. Many of the individuals who have definitively answered lingering questions include tourism and other key figures have since died. And the request for comment from people within the Pentagon has officially gone unanswered. So then one of the most troubling questions remains to this day is why did it take over 20 years for the U.S. military to return to the crash site? And if the area was considered too hostile, but even before the peace treaty and ceasefire were signed in February 1973, then the U.S. failed to negotiate a return through the search and wreckage and recover the remains, which technically they should have been able to do under that peace treaty.
Well, I was actually just reading, so I was doing a little research, right?
Okay.
Like, we didn't even get, like, the fall of Saigon didn't even happen until April of that year. We didn't even start getting prisoners of war till late March.
Yeah.
So, like, just because the peace treaty signed doesn't mean things happen the
Immediately.
next day.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, like, the fall of Saigon was us finally pulling out. Even though the treaty had been signed in January, we didn't even start pulling out until months later.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, why weren't they part of the negotiations?
Yeah,
If we didn't even start getting POWs, I don't know.
Is it because they were potentially up in Russia at the time?
Unfortunately, we're never going to know.
No.
At the end of the day,
The government is never going to answer for this. Period. End of story.
well, and here's the thing. So I don't know a ton about the Vietnam War. I've read a couple books.
Yeah, I don't know a ton about it either. I grew up thinking we won the Vietnam War. So goes to show you, like, as an adult, learning the history of the fact that it actually was not the case. And on top of that, the mental toll that it took on the men and women of our country during that time is a vast rift in American history.
So I've referenced this because it's pretty much, I've only read 2 books on the Vietnam War. So my knowledge, like I am not claiming to be an expert.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm making that very
You don't want to
clear.
like come up with some absurd theory that
Absolutely not. But
revisionist history.
I'll refer to my 2 books that I've read.
Okay.
One, I've referenced this one in the past, was from a Huey helicopter pilot.
Mm-hmm.
And he tells of the story. It's towards the end of his book about how he was tasked to go in and get special operators into Laos where we weren't supposed to be.
Okay.
And he rescues them they come into this open field and he drops the rigs and they hook themselves up to the rigs and then he lifts them out
That's
and goes,
crazy.
right?
Yeah.
Well, he was told specifically, if these guys get hung up on a tree where you then have a hard time pulling them out, you are to cut it and cut your ties. Get out. You are to cut the rig that this guy's hooked up to,
Yeah.
leave him, and go. One guy got rigged up and he refused.
Yeah.
Cut it. And he ripped that guy out of the tree and broke almost every bone in his body.
But he got him out.
And he visited him after, and the guy just was sobbing. And he's like, and he visited him because he wanted to say, I'm so sorry for what I did to you.
Yeah.
Because he damaged, he almost killed him.
Yeah.
And the guy just looked at him and goes, you saved my life. And was just so thankful. The other book I read was from a special operator who ran special missions in Laos along the Ho Chi Minh Trail, who we weren't supposed to be.
Yeah.
And literally, what they would do is they would go and infiltrate, drop these guys off, and then leave them. And if they got killed, they were on their own. So the reason I'm bringing that up is
It's
because
making me angry, but yeah.
running these special this isn't new to our government. Like we do this all the time. Look at what we just did the other day.
Yeah.
And this will come out 2 weeks ago,
Yeah.
a couple of weeks, but.
No, I here's the thing. Yes, every major country has special operations. What is it? The MI6 in.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, what bothers me is, yes, run our special operations. Our military is the greatest military ever.
Yeah.
But it appears that we left these guys behind for political reasons.
Yep.
And that's where I have problems. Because, sure, we were running.
The honor inside the military when it comes to the people on the ground versus the people in the ivory tower is lip service. And that makes me angry.
We've got the greatest military in the world. And anyone that signs up and does this, you are.
The men and women that serve in our military, they are heroes.
And you guys deserve to be treated with love, respect, and honor.
Yes.
And you guys deserve to be backed up.
And the number one people doing that should be the people in power.
And it looks like at that time, politics overcame possibly the life of some soldiers.
Shocking.
And that's a disgrace because those men signed up and they
They
were
could have even
willing,
been drafted too. They might not have even had
Yeah.
a choice to be over there.
but they still did it.
Yeah.
They still strapped their boots on and did what they were asked. And then they were possibly abandoned. And if that is the case, then anyone that did it deserves whatever punishment is coming for them in the next life. Because you are now entrusted with the safety of
Yeah.
these soldiers. And if you left them behind,
Yeah. Because, and that several of the articles I read is that the US military, especially high up, the big thing is no man left behind. And that is unfortunately only really true amongst the enlistees that are on the ground.
yeah,
They men have had their body parts blown off, leaving no man behind. But the men and women who sit high up in their cushioned seats and their decorated pins all over them, a lot of them turn the other cheek. They don't live by that same code of honor. And it appears to be that's this case in this story.
yeah. But like when I watched it, that was the what I got is it appears that these men were continuing to do their jobs, unless like we still run,
Yeah.
intelligence
Intelligence
operations and all
that
that stuff like
still
that.
happens.
But they were shot down,
Yeah.
and it appears that very little effort.
No, the
was made.
POW enterprise and program and that nonprofit organization, the POW, is an amazing
Absolutely.
collective group of men and women out there championing, campaigning. And they've been very outspoken
Well, here's the thing.
about the government at times completely leaving men and women
It
behind.
is a fact that the government refuses to admit a lot of things.
Yes.
This isn't the same, but kind of. So, if you guys ever want to watch an awesome series, go watch The Medal of Honor on Netflix. It's like 8 episodes, and it tells the story of different Medal of Honor recipients. Hands down, one of the greatest series ever made. It's incredible.
Yeah.
But one of them is an Air Force guy during Vietnam War. His family wasn't given the Medal of Honor until 2010. Why? Because they were running a secret operation with the CIA in Laos, establishing a radio tower.
Yeah.
And he was shot as he was trying to get his team out and killed. But the military refused to even acknowledge that happened. Not the military. I shouldn't say the military. Like people in Washington.
This is I called the ivory tower, right? It's the people pulling the strings up
to
high.
acknowledge that even happened. It wasn't until 2010 when those things, and I can't remember how it all came to light, but eventually it came to light. His story came to light, and he was honored with what he should have been honored with, which was the Medal of Honor and his fam. But it took 40 years.
And what bothers me, Ben, is that when this man either enlisted or signed up or anything, all of this glory and honor and respect that he was promised is then the moment it's inconvenient for the people in Washington, D.C. they bail.
Yeah, it is.
And that's a podcast. That's an anthill that we are not going to solve. In fact, the POW has an entire, there is podcasts about numerous men and women and mistreatment and all of this stuff. And I was actually surprised to see this story on Unsolved Mysteries. I think it was actually a really great thing that they did to bring attention to this. I hope those families find the rest that they can, that they know that there are normal everyday citizens who are grateful for the honor and service, and anyone living out there today listening to this, if you are a member of the military or former or any way, shape, or form, we are so grateful for you.
And you know me.
Yeah.
I don't even like conspiracy theories. And I don't buy.
Well, this isn't a conspiracy theory.
Well, I'm saying I don't buy into a lot of things that doesn't have fact. But this one I watched It made me angry.
Yeah, it made me angry too. I mean, you can tell we're going off on it right
and
now.
probably too long, and I'll end it. But I just it made me upset, and this was kind of one I was like, you know what, be better.
Yeah.
Hey, and here's the thing: there's nothing you can do now, but acknowledge it. Acknowledge it. For
What
this
harm is it
family,
going to do to
for this
acknowledge it
family,
now?
and for you guys to continue to be like,
Mm,
well, I don't have the software to play this. I'm like, you know what? That's you copying out.
yeah,
And
100%.
I understand that the people in charge are not the ones in charge then, but guess what? You're still the leaders. You got to be responsible.
It still is feeding the system.
Yeah. Anyways, sorry. I
Yeah.
go off on my.
We could go on it. Yeah.
Yeah, I could go off on a tangent for a
I
long
could
time.
go off on my tangent on the rich eating the poor and the high up powers they be, and that the rules are different once you're past a certain playing field and all of that. But overall, if you served in our military, past, present, or future, we are so grateful for you because we get to enjoy freedoms every day.
You guys are the best of the best.
All right, Ben, why don't you finish us out on our third story?
All right, I'm going to be quick about this.
Okay.
This is a scam from Josephine White. Told she's a con artist who supposedly scammed people, out of possibly $1 million. And she targets retired elderly people. So I never even heard of this scam called the pigeon drop.
I hadn't either, but
it's actually still going on today.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
I found an article from 2019 about someone that they're still looking because she was running a pigeon drop scam.
Really?
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Crazy. Anyways, so she'd been doing this since like the 60s, but we get told of a victim. They don't show her face. They don't tell us her real name because she's embarrassed and, it's too bad. But she's an immigrant who doesn't speak great English, but she's a retired hospital worker. She's come here. She's made a living for herself. She's got a small little pension and a little bit of savings. And she's just out and about. And so supposedly Josephine on April 26, 1989, approaches this lady who they call Barbara and says, hey, I need help. Look at what I found. And she shows her a bag of money and supposedly like close to $70,000.
Cha-ching.
And here's the thing. You're going to hear this story and you're all going to be like, what?
I'm never going to shame a single person that gets
that's the thing. I cannot.
Especially because this woman was not even, English wasn't her first language. Like that even puts you more at a disadvantage.
Even when they interview her, but she's clearly blew it out. It is clear that, her English is not her strong suit. Yeah. So it appears that they definitely took advantage of that aspect of her. So they show her this money and she's like, I don't know what to do. What should we do? And so Barbara says, well, we should turn it into the police. But Josephine's like, no, we can't do that because then they'll take the money. And so she shows her like, oh, look, there's even this note in there about how they talked about how it says something like, we've done it again. We got our winnings, but we got to find a way to not pay income tax on it. Signed, Jose. And so she's like, see, like, I don't know what she says to her in the reenactment. She's like, we can't, what should we do? And then just randomly, another guy comes up and says, hey, what's going on? Is there something going on? Can I help you guys with something? Of course, this man's part of the scam too. He's her accomplice. And so she shows her, I mean, I guess if you find $70,000, you're just going to show it to everybody and ask what you're going to do. But again, this is the scam. I didn't even know this was a thing.
Yeah, that's just because you don't talk to people. If anyone makes eye contact with Ben in public and tries to come up to him and have a conversation.
Yeah, hit the road, Jeff.
There's several times like we've been in places where like news reports are happening. Like, do you remember like we
were in Target and
people have approached us to ask us for a comment on something that's going on locally in our area. Ben, before they can even get 2 breaths out, Ben's like, not interested.
Yeah, it was literally the local news here in Tucson.
Yeah.
Walked up to us in the parking lot and said, hey, this just passed. Can we get your thoughts on it? And before she even finished, I was like, absolutely not. Keep moving. That's what I said to her.
I know. And I was like,
I wasn't trying to be rude, but I didn't want to.
Wanted to say something.
No, absolutely not. I'm not going to be on the news. So these two people, and there's a police officer interviewed. He tells us like, listen, this is a scam, and the fact of like they're talking really fast and they're talking to each other to the point where the victim never has an opportunity to get a word in, where they then even like everything is spinning really fast and things are happening really fast between these two people. So Josephine, she gets Barbara to get in the car. It's like, listen, she tells her, listen, my boss is an accountant guru and a tax guru. Let's go talk to him and find out what we can do so that we can keep this money and, but still be okay. So somehow she lures Barbara into the car and this other stranger who supposedly just offered his good graces.
It's just a bunch of strangers in a
Yeah.
vehicle together. That
And
sounds like
on
my
the way there,
nightmare.
he's telling these stories
Stage
about how his wife
3
is, dying of
is to,
cancer.
yep, do
And
the
that's
bleeding
me.
heart
He's
story.
talking like this is stage 1, this is stage 2, and like stage 3 is, telling the story of where there's a personal connection and a sob story, things like that. So Josephine, they pull up to an office building. She goes in and says, hey, listen, all right, I talked to my boss. He says there's a great way that we can keep this money, but we got to put it down like a good faith payment for taxes. And it's $5,000. So they, but they say once you do that, then you're going to get 22,000 of it. We're going to split this 3 ways and it's 22,000 bucks. So they convince Barbara to go to the bank and pull out $5,000, which unfortunately is practically Barbara's pretty much all of her savings.
Yeah.
So Barbara goes.
But she's looking at it as a $5,000 investment that
It's a
she's going to,
deposit.
it's a deposit. She's going to get it, quote, back plus $22,000.
Yeah, plus 22,000. So she's going to be
At the end of the day, she's thinking within 2 hours, I'm going to have $27,000 in my hand.
So she goes, she withdraws the 5,000. She gives it to Josephine. They pull back up to the office building and Josephine goes in and comes back out and says, all right, you're good to go. Room 204, just go in there and he'll give you your money. He's going to give you your $5,000 back and your $22,000 of this money. So she goes in, goes to the room. Guess what? There's no room.
No one
It's
there.
locked. There's no one there. She goes back out. Guess what? Car's gone. Her $5,000 is gone. She's left there empty handed. And all of this has happened within like 2 to 3 hours. So Barbara, of course, is feeling terrible. She realizes she got taken advantage of. And so, yeah, she's embarrassed and rightfully,
Yeah, I
not
mean,
rightfully so, but like
that's half the
terribly.
reason scams are able to go on.
Yeah.
Is because people are so embarrassed or humiliated afterwards, they're not willing to report them.
But this police officer, I think he was from Massachusetts. I can't remember.
So far, all of the scams we've covered, the law enforcement that are interviewed are very
I
compassionate.
will say
these
the
people.
law enforcement, at least on Unsolved Mysteries, are very good. They're like, they understand the victims. They're like, listen, we don't care. We just want to get these people.
Yeah.
We need to stop doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
So he's there and he's like, listen, this is what we want to do. And we want to catch her. So that's where Unsolved Mysteries leaves us. So are you ready for your update?
Yeah.
She was captured July 1994. Took a few years, but I guess in the middle of one of her little scams,
Yeah.
she was caught and arrested in, I want to say it was in the Boston area. She was sentenced to 15 years in prison.
More than the guy who beat his wife and tried to murder
Well,
multiple
he was sentenced
people.
to 35. But all it says is that she did her time and was released. I don't know how much of that time. I looked, as you would imagine, like with all of these scammers, they get out of jail and
they are ghosts in the wind.
These people, changing a name is nothing to them. Like, they don't identify with one name. They're fine with having 10 names. So I try to find her there's nothing else on her, or at least nothing else under that name.
Under that name.
I
Exactly.
imagine she went on to continue to scam.
I have yet to share a story of a scammer who has not continued to go on and scam.
Well, but it's hard because usually then they turn around and they go scam, and they just whatever name they were
Yeah.
arrested and did time under, they completely abandon
Yeah.
for the rest of their lives. Like
Yeah.
they never go back to that. So obviously in the system, they're always going to be known as that. But so I'm sure she went
Okay,
on.
rule of thumb, don't give anyone money. Period.
If someone
End of
comes
story.
up and shows you a bag of money and says, "What should I do?"
Hit the road, Jack, as what Ben would say. Not my problem. That's when you say, more money, more problems.
But it feels bad because here's this lady.
But I feel
She's
bad
probably
too.
just trying to help.
She kept saying several times we should just go to police. I think what is interesting is the stage 3 of this scam is, and this is where I would have a problem with it, or I would probably be the most susceptible to, is that if I've got some stranger, especially if it was a woman telling me like, I've got a kid that's got cancer and our health insurance was just canceled and this is a miracle and stuff like that, I would be really tempted to be like, okay, cool, let's go. Like, we found a bag of money. You're telling me that if I can help you get this money, then you get to save your sick child or your sick husband or your sick wife. Like, how can I help? And that's what I think is so diabolical about this too, is it wasn't just greed. They try greed and then they tried the humanitarian side, which is really sad because then you're playing at good people.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they play that side.
But honestly, what's funny is interesting is if someone found a bag of $80,000, who's going to go up to somebody else and be like, what should I do with this?
Yeah, let me share it with you.
If I found a bag of 80 grand,
there'd be signs. Lots of cats.
it's cats.
Lots of cats.
I'm the person. I remember one time we were at Costco and I think it was right before Christmas last year. I think I found like $100 bill or something. It was a bigger bill. It wasn't just like $1 on the ground. And my assumption is that a lot of people around the holidays maybe pull cash out and that's like their Christmas money to have or something.
Yeah, they pull it out and it's like, this is it. This is
all I have. So I went to the manager at Costco and I said, I found this money. Has anyone, and the guy looked at me first off like, okay, you found $100 and you're handing it in. And I'm not a good person. And I mean, I try to be a good person, but I'm not sharing the story to be like, look at me. But the manager was very nice. And he's like, the best I can do is hold this for a few weeks. And if no one claims it, I can call you and you can come pick it up. But like, cash is cash. There's no way to
identify
it. And someone's got to come to me and said, I'm missing $100 bill. And I'm assuming if most people get home and realize that they dropped $100 bill on the ground,
you're just going to think
it's gone.
It's out. I'm done with it.
And with it, I think it was like 3 weeks later, he called me and was like, no one ever came by.
Did you get it?
Yeah, I went and got it. Of course but here's the thing. But then I did my due diligence, right? Like I did.
You went through the process.
Yeah. And so I'm like, again, but I didn't hand that money in expecting to be like fingers crossed. No, my hope is that that's your money. It's not mine.
Yeah.
And
I don't know.
So yeah, I'm going to get, this thing is like, if I found 80 grand on the ground, first off, I'm going to be worried that I just found drug money or something like that's putting me in danger. That's a lot of money.
I would assume like I'm being set up. Where's the cameras?
Where's
Who's this really for?
Who's this for? Because if someone's carrying on 80 G's in a purse, something in their life has gone several different directions, none of which
some type of organization
that I want nothing to do with.
Bad things happen.
Yeah, I want nothing to do with this.
I agree.
You either need this money and you've pulled it out because something desperate is happening or because you're involved in something I don't want anything to do with.
Yeah.
Both of these situations, I don't want to be tied to.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd be the first person to be like, I'm turning this over to somebody who can handle this, not me.
Someone came and like, look at this. I'm like, I'm out.
I'm out. I want nothing to do with it.
I don't know who you are.
La,
Don't
la, la,
pass
la,
me.
la,
Don't
la,
look at
la.
me. I'm going to
Yeah.
walk this way. Do not follow.
Exactly. All right, everybody. That is our episode of what we're season 4, episode 5 of Unsolved Mysteries. And we've reached the point in our podcast where I ask Ben a redonkulous question. And if you're not into it, feel free to exit stage. Right.
You said left last time.
Yeah. Mixing it up a little bit. Okay. Ben,
Yes.
is cereal soup?
What? No,
Why?
because it's cereal.
Well, what is what is soup?
Okay, but if you can categorize soup, why can't you categorize cereal?
Well, soup is a liquid with solid pieces floating around in it.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Tomato soup isn't.
It's
just liquid. Cheese soup, just liquid. You don't have solids floating through it.
okay. So if I took a bowl of cereal and blended it, is it soup?
Well, that's disgusting. And no, this is the point I'm making. You made a food and you call it soup.
Mm-hmm.
Cereal is a food and you call it cereal.
But they're the same.
No, oh my gosh. No, they're not.
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
It's a hot dog. That's
It's
just what it
meat
is.
between two pieces of bread.
Why do we have to categorize it with something else? Why can't it just be the hot dog? Why can't it just
Why can't it be called like a hot dog sandwich, like a pastrami sandwich?
No. Why do you have to put a sandwich on it?
Milk soup.
Are you?
I'm just saying.
No.
I think these are all valid questions.
They are not questions. They are absolutely not questions.
Mm-hmm.
It holds zero merit. Cereal is cereal.
It's kind of, though, milk soup.
No, it's not.
I
you
think
know
so.
it.
I know.
You know it.
A liquid with something else added to it is milk soup.
No, it's not. Milk is not a soup.
Hot dogs are
milk.
technically sandwiches because it's a piece of meat or something between two pieces of a bread. Which I guess makes like a burrito even like a sandwich.
Is a burrito a sandwich?
Yeah, I mean, it is.
No, it's just a burrito.
I mean, the big difference between a burrito and a sandwich is the burrito is rolled and a sandwich is like placed two pieces.
Okay, is a sandwich a burrito? I could do the same thing. I could just then take whatever you say is the dominant thing and say that it's not the dominant.
I could say it falls under the umbrella. I could say a burrito falls under the umbrella of the sandwich category.
No.
And cereal can fall under the category of soup.
No, it cannot.
Breakfast soup.
I refuse to accept
for breakfast.
I refuse to accept that answer.
Fruit Loop soupy. Soupy fruit. The fruit of the soup. The soup of the fruit.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. The dumbest thing.
What's your favorite breakfast soup?
Well, first off, I don't eat soup for breakfast.
I kind of do, though.
No, I don't.
Take a liquid and you put something else into it.
You know, I can't even believe that you're even wearing hats. You know that this is not true. You know it's not true, and you're peddling.
I'm not peddling anything. I'm asking a genuine. I think this is an interesting conversation to have.
It's not. It's not real.
It is real.
It's a made-up conversation.
It's not a made-up.
People that have a dumb conversation.
It's not a dumb conversation.
No, anyone that believes that is Looney Tune.
A Looney Tune?
Looney Tune.
Soup. Breakfast soup.
Absolutely. If you believe that, you belong in the Looney Tune bin.
What's your favorite breakfast soup?
I'm not going to answer that question that way. Ask the question properly and I will answer.
I am asking it properly.
Do you believe that cereal is a soup?
Yep.
Oh, you are so messed up. So messed up.
I mean, it makes sense.
No, it
I just think, Like I could say like a bisque or, something like that is under the umbrella of soup. I would just say cereal falls under that category. A cream-based soup, milk-based soup, broth-based soup, all the same thing. And a hot dog is a sandwich. I guess technically so is a burger. What do you think about that?
I refuse.
Ben,
I refuse.
Ben refuses. All right, everybody. Well, we're going to bounce on out here because I'm losing my voice minute by minute. And Ben has been rage baited. I'll save the question next week on what would you do if you were athletic? What kind of sport would you play if you were athletic?
Dude, I am athletic. I play all of them. Most athletic person you've ever known.
Exactly. All right, Ben and I will be back here again next week when we recap another episode of
Unsolved Mysteries.
Bye.